Just took on Zillow Showcase. It's expensive. I spent $20,000 on that.
I don't know if that's gonna help you with very much.
My cost to operate my real estate business is 49%. I think that's a little high.
I am anti-lead
In so much.
because Hi, everybody. My name is James Becker, and I am the founder and CEO of Fusion Growth Partners. One of the reasons why you might listen to what it is that I'm having to say and to consider some of the thoughts is because I have built from scratch one of the largest mega organizations or teams in the country. We currently have close to 850 top real estate agents that work and partner with my organization, and I have over 300 employees that support these agents. Last year, our agents sold over $6 billion in real estate, producing well over $150 million in gross commissions earned. I hope you find what I'm sharing interesting, insightful, and helpful for your business. Arnold, how long have you been with us?
February or March, somewhere there, 2024.
Okay. So we've probably had about 6 or 7 months of marketing since you graduated from Groundbreaker.
More than that. We're quite a bit. I went through Groundbreaker, I think maybe in about 6 weeks or so.
Oh, you went fast.
I went fast. Like, if you're gonna do it, get it done, get on with it. So my business, Fusion's done a phenomenal job for me. Like, my business, my gross in 2023 was 385,000 GCI. Last year was 712.
Wow.
So Fusion played a big part in that. Obviously, I'm boots on the ground. I got the systems here, but James, I'm in a 55 plus community, and I have a system in this community that I have 27% market share.
Wow.
I didn't expect to get, but I mean, just with what I'm doing and then Fusion behind me, carrying all of the other stuff, like, I am a very well-known brand in this community. Community is about 9,000 people. Couple of things. One is the way I used to do my business back. Been in real estate 25 years in Canada. Very set, structured. Get out of bed in the morning, gym at 5:30. You can ask me at any time during the day, what's your day look like? Gym, to the office, quiet time, read time, meet with my assistant, on the phone till 10:30, return calls, lunch with somebody. It was very, very structured. I don't have that structure, but right now I'm finding I'm just so doggone busy that I couldn't get that structure in there anyway. Where I'm lacking back, if there's anything I could do differently today, one thing would be obviously calling my SOI. I've got 698 people in my SOI right now. I don't keep regular touch with those by voice. Obviously, through Fusion, we do regularly. But with what we're doing, I mean, my phone just rings all the time, James, and I know it's going to slow down, and I know I'm going to have to get on the phone, and I am planning that right now. The other thing, so it's just
Why do you think it's going to slow down?
the market is switching right now for us. I mean, especially coming into summertime, we're in a 55 plus community. 60% of the people leave this community in the summertime. We just talked about. We're noticing a bit of a slowdown in the market right now, although I haven't listed two. I just come back from the listing appointment. I've listed two this week. I already have one of them under contract, which we blasted out to my SOI, and that went under contract. The other thing that I have, and I don't know how I want to tackle it, or even if I do, my cost of goods or my cost to operate my real estate business is 49%. I think that's a little high. I should be maybe 10, 12% under that. But with what I'm doing, I sponsor, there's a lot of opportunity here, James, in this 55 plus community to sponsor event. A lot of golf events going on, and I take top tier sponsorship in all of them. I sponsor a golf it cost me $2,500 to sponsor a 2-day event. I'm on the hole with my own tent, fully branded, shaking hands, giving out cocktails, drinks, whatever. That event, the day of or the 2 days of the event will cost me another $1,000 for swag and stuff that I give away. So that's $3,500 an event, and I do 7 of those a year. It all in Q1 and April, just into Q2. So when I'm looking at that, I don't know how much I want to cut it back, so I guess that's the thing. Aside from that, we're rocking along here not too bad. And I don't know what thoughts you have or what experience you have in 55 plus communities or what you know about my business and what we do, but
Well, I mean, I don't think it's much different than the SOI. I mean, it's more relationship for sure. So our style of business would work really, really well for you. You have a huge presence in the business and in building the brand. Are you able to have signs out in the neighborhood when you take listings?
yeah, I can. And that's a huge plus as well. We can have
Yeah.
for sale signs everywhere. Always
Yeah,
do open
that just
houses.
will become an annuity for you as you keep going. When you're building a brand, you have to spend more.
Yeah.
Once you have that brand built and established, you can pull back probably on some of those sponsorships. But it's working for you right now. So when you're saying you're at 49%, what are the other expenses that you have besides the marketing?
Mostly just, well, Fusion, of course, is lumped into that as well. All this, mostly all the sponsorship stuff I do. I don't carry my cars in there or any of that kind of stuff. I charge mileage. So the rest of the stuff, it's just pretty well all there's a ton of it goes into marketing. Marketing properties. I just took on Zillow Showcase. I was talking to Maddie about that today. I think that's a big plus, but again, it's expensive. I spent $20,000 on that.
I don't know if that's gonna help you with very much. I mean, that may attract people that are coming in, but my gut sense is if they drive into the neighborhood and they see your signs everywhere, you've got a good shot of getting those calls.
Yeah.
And they're also then cold leads. So one of our fundamentals, I'm just going to throw out some ideas and we can discuss them as we go. But I am anti-lead
And so much.
because it requires, there's a diminishing return on leads because you have to follow up with, now you're going to do a better job than 99.9% of the people that are out there. But I think that people who call you from a lead standpoint doesn't know who you are. They don't give you the credibility that you have earned by being in that marketplace. They're not going to give you the level of respect. You have to kind of get them to understand what the prestige that you have. And so you have to work a lot harder with more people. And that is time and energy and money that could be placed somewhere else.
Just not to interrupt you. I'm with you. I'm not into internet leads, never have been. I've always
Yep.
built my business on relationships. What
Yep.
Zillow Showcase is a new thing that Zillow has. I go on there, I have a new listing. They go and they do all the photos, they do the drones, they do all the stuff to put all that together. Then I have all the 3D photos and everything I can put on MLS. Of course, with Zillow, we know Zillow, what it's all about. My hit ratio on the listings themselves has gone up between 60 to 75% just on Zillow. So I'm getting more exposure. So I'm looking at it for an exposure point for my sellers as opposed to sending me a lead.
That's clicks on Zillow.
Yeah,
Do you get many calls from that?
I'm not getting any, as of right now, in 2 weeks, I have not got any. So, but,
So what do you think? And I'm asking, I'm not, what is the value, do you believe? Do you think that you're getting more clicks on there that are valuable clicks, do they have value? In other words, is it being exposed to buyers who would be potentially competing to buy those properties where they wouldn't have it otherwise?
Yeah, and obviously we could never definitively answer that, but an example, I mean, if I did a price reduction 949 to 865, and it's one of my showcase listings, I had 1,500 people had already clicked on that property. So as soon as I did the price reduction, it blasted out to all 1,500. And I had 2 offers within 24 hours. The property went under contract. So
could you source that from?
I couldn't. No, I couldn't. One of them was out of the
I
state
mean,
fire.
the price drop was significant.
It's a significant price drop. So if Zillow wasn't that, well, Zillow will always be there. But if I didn't have the showcase, I probably would have had half of that many people been on there. Would I have had the same result? Like, we'll probably never know that, James. Probably never know.
So I think, again, to me, if you're getting telephone calls, if you're seeing more buyers call or contact you specifically, where you could pick up 2 or 3 deals per year on this, that would break you even.
Yeah.
And make you a profit. That would make sense. If you're not doing that, I'm really highly suspect of clicks and non-clicks
Okay.
and so I want to be really clear. I am not saying that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that I think that well, there's 2 things. I think that when you walk into a seller's house and you're saying, I'm doing this thing, and this cost me $20,000 a year, and no other agent's doing this, and I'm at the top of the market. Does that give you a level of confidence that secures more listings, or do you think you would get the listings anyhow? So that's the other question on the value. Even if it's not bringing it, does it create something that where you're getting listings maybe where you wouldn't get them otherwise?
And that's a really good question. I'm very strong when my appointment to actual getting listings signed ratio is extremely high. I always want to, when I'm on my listing appointment, hey, here's the marketing, here's what I do different. And I always said, and I stand behind Fusion with that. This is what we have behind us, that sort of thing. I have Zillow, which is something else. I've never been a supporter of Zillow ever. But what I do like about them is I love the videos they do, the 3Ds, the drones. I could hire somebody else to do all that anyway. And plug it into your system. We could do all the same thing.
Would the cost be different?
Well, you see, if I do the full-blown photos, drone, and everything will cost me $1,000 on Zillow for them to come and do it all.
And what if you hired out for that?
I might get it done for 800, 750.
Not that much different.
It's not that much different. So what I like about it, plug and play, I pop the thing in there and I say, this is what I want. I click, 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 goes through my credit card and it's gone. So I don't have to manage multiple people coming to do this, and it's extremely good quality.
Okay.
Extremely good quality. So I can stand there in front of a seller and say, here's what you can expect. So, and I can go to a seller, which I'm lacking right now. I can go to a seller 14, 30 days into it and say, okay, here's our performance. Here's how many people we've had look at it. Here's been our clicks.
You can't get that from your local MLS?
No, not to this degree. I can get it from MLS, but it's only going to be in the same period. I might have 50, 75, could be 100. Where in Zillow, with what I'm seeing with Showcase now is 1,500. Before I was showing 300 to 800, depending on the property and the price point and
And
market.
the only difference is that could be coming from all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not gonna equate to increases. The and again, to me, I mean, you sold me on the value. If you can do this conveniently and they get it all up there and it's marketing, I see it. But you're paying 20,000 plus $1,000?
Well, I paid, I say 20,000. What did I pay? I signed up for a 4 or 5 listing package, which was, I think that was around $9,500. Then I've
That's
already,
$2,000 per listing.
yeah. So that's yeah. And then I signed up for,
Okay, so let's just stop there. And I'm not telling you not to do so. I'm not selling you against it, but I want to do an exercise. If you took, so I'm going to go back to one of our fundamentals. I think it's our fourth fundamental in the business plan, which is you are the CEO of your business.
yeah,
Okay. If you're the CEO of General Motors, you have human resources, you have factory, you have parts, you have a brand, you have a dealership distribution, you have capital, and your job is to coordinate these assets and resources, deploy them in a way that gets you the highest return possible.
yeah,
Okay. So when we look at that and say, okay, we apply that to now your business, same principle. You have resources of $10,000 or 9,500 in this case. If you took that $9,500 and you deployed it somewhere else, not necessarily all at once, but let's say we start a farm of 500 more homes in the next community over. What would produce, and you may not have the answers, and I don't want you to give me the answers. I just want you to think about this and we can have another conversation. But if you took this 10,000 or 20,000, whatever that number is, and you deploy it into expanding your base, more sellers that could potentially be a part of it, would that potentially produce a higher ROI than the Zillow? And again, I don't want you to answer it. I want you to think about it.
yeah.
Because I think this is just something you kind of have to marinate on because there's different aspects. It's not black and white all the time. But I think that's the question that you really have to ask. So when you're getting these things, the drone, the pictures, and all looks amazing and everything, there may be real value there, but you are trying to create efficiency in your business at this point. You're doing an amazing business, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to look at these smaller numbers because if you start to scale, those numbers become bigger.
They do. Yes, they do. They do. They do. So, yeah.
What runs through your mind when I'm asking those questions?
What's going through my mind is first thing is how many times does Arnold, I guess, just look at it and jump on it and not really look at what is the ROI? I'll be honest with you, Jim.
We're all like that.
We're all, that's why we are where we are, right? That's what I think. I'm looking at, okay, where else could I spend it and get the same result? And then
Or a better result.
more better result. Yeah, better result.
Is there a place that you could deploy that? Let's just say it's $100,000 a year. Is there something that's going to return a better return? And my guess is probably yes, but you have to make that decision.
Yeah. No, you are right. And I have made some notes on that and I'm going to look at some checks.
In the 55-year-old community that you're in, is there other 55-year-old communities that are close by to where you're at?
Within 25 minutes, yes.
Oh, so it's much further away.
Yeah. Mostly all
How many homes sell in your community a year?
580 a year, 550 to 580.
And how many are we marketing to besides the sphere of influence that we have? I mean, if we were going direct mail. So how many homes, how many single family homes are there?
6,500, 6,000, 6,500 single family homes.
How big do you want your business?
And that's a good question. Hey, James, I am 65 years old. I don't want to be doing this when I'm 75. I don't want to be doing this really much past the next 5 years.
What will, do you have family? Do you have kids? Do you have a legacy? Someone would inherit whatever you built?
I'd have to bring somebody on. I brought on two people that was going to continue to work with me, grow with me. They're on a 70-30 split, 50-50, 70-30, 50-50, anything I give them, 70-30, what they bring to the table. And they had 3-4 deals in the hopper each, and then they jumped ship where they went to 100% company. And we talked about it a lot, that the more that we grow, the more I'm going to back away, the more that they get better at, doing business, sitting with people and managing their business, the more that they could take on more of mine. And then I eventually, within 3 to 5 years, 3 years, I was kind of thinking I can step away and I can just collect a percentage of what they're doing. But that failed. That went away.
Okay, so a couple of things on that. That failed with those people, but didn't necessarily fail all the way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a minute. One is you're paying them too much, in my opinion. And you probably were bringing on salespeople. You were probably looking for the next Arnold. We have in our business plan, we have 4 stages: groundbreaker, rainmaker, which you're in, and then team maker. Team maker, we have the Beyonce backup dancer routine. So you're Beyonce.
Yeah.
And the backup dancers, they can't be Beyonce, and they can add to Beyonce. And so if you're hiring really entrepreneurial people, they are going to become complacent and leave you. And so our goal is to find somebody who's a really good customer service person who is not a rainmaker.
Okay.
Okay. This is critical. They are not a rainmaker.
Yeah.
They are not great at sales.
Okay.
This means that they become dependent upon you.
Yeah.
So you are not handing over deals. You are handing over portions of transactions for them to run. You do the initial intake, you negotiate the deal, and you go to the signing. You are the main attorney, the one that is in first chair. But the main attorney has associates and people that support him or her. And so you have to be out there making rain. And we have a very specific process for this. And finding the right person, the person that's showing property should be driving around saying, Arnold is the most amazing guy ever. Their job is to be your agent, not the other person's agent. They are your agent. And what you do is you set them up so that they get a piece of everything that you close, so that it gives them security. So a salesperson, entrepreneur person is more risk indulgent or tolerant, and a more support person is more risk adverse. They can't stand the idea that they may not be able to make their payments, and they are willing to make less money overall in exchange for the security of being around someone who produces like you produce.
Yeah.
And so you might have to kiss some frogs, but once you get somebody who is good, and we have a system, we can help you train them. You have a meeting with them once a day that's 15-30 minutes. But this is your next phase. And it's really super important that you get involved with this, and then you get committed to it, so that if we hire someone that doesn't work out, you get the next one. You hire someone that doesn't work out. You will find your prince or princess. I promise you, if you don't quit.
Yeah.
Okay. And when that happens, your life changes because now you don't have to answer every phone call. You don't have to be in all places. I'm going to give you an analogy that I gave the last gal that I talked to. You know the fable, the goose that laid the golden egg and the farmer?
Yep.
So this goose lays a golden egg and farmer's rich, but then he becomes greedy and he feeds it and he pushes it to lay more eggs. And so it laid two eggs the next day and three the next day and four the next one. The goose is getting tired and the farmer finally gets impatient, kills the goose and cuts it open to get all the golden eggs out, but they're not because he killed the goose that lays golden eggs.
Yep.
In this scenario, are you the goose or are you the farmer?
It should be the farmer.
You're both.
Both. Okay.
You are the goose
Yeah.
that lays the golden egg. And you're also the farmer. You have to take care of the goose. And so there is a season for burning the midnight oil. And you're in that season and getting the next person, but we have to plan for the next couple of years.
Mhm.
And if we can get one or two people, we have spread. Who's your partnership executive?
Louis.
Lewis?
Lewis, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Have Lewis take you through this. Lewis has been with me for forever. Lewis is amazing.
Forever, yeah.
And so and actually Lewis was my associate.
Yeah.
For years. When I was getting this thing going, he ran my full business so that I could have some income.
Yeah.
And get this business started. And so I mean, is that something you would want?
It definitely is. When I was in Canada, when I started my real estate business, my second year, I sold 70 homes. I was working 70, 80 hours a week, and I was saying, I'm done. I love the income. I love the business. I do not like working this many hours. And I joined a coaching program. I was professionally coached for 10 years or more. The next year, my average work week went to 38 hours and I did 100 transactions.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I put the structure around me to make it work. And that's what you're talking about. In my community, I'm having a hard time seeing beyond this very fact. It's a 55 plus community. I didn't have that before. I had a geographical area. I could hire anybody all ages from anywhere. I don't want to bring competition into Pebble Creek. I want to hire from into Pebble Creek. So they're going to be 55 plus.
I don't think that's a concern.
No.
Because if you really like me and you trust me and I'm providing a high level of service and I bring along a young whippersnapper who's sharp and polite and kind and saying good things about me, would you have any problem having that person open doors or bring you paperwork?
No.
That's not going to be a problem. And again, I think the piece that you're missing is you're not going to hire a rainmaker.
Right. That's
Lewis was not a rainmaker, but my customers and they loved him more than they loved me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because he's a nicer person than he's like everybody loves Lewis. That's what you want to do. But Lewis is not someone who's going to go out and make it rain. That's just not him. And so you and I are rainmakers. The person who's not a rainmaker is dependent on the rainmaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And you don't want to hold that over anybody's head, but you don't want someone to say, hey, great, I've learned everything. See you later. It's been great.
Yep.
And if they know, so it could be, I'm not saying you're going to bring in someone who's 20 or 30, it could be 40, but there's a lot of real estate agents out there who need an income.
Yeah.
And and you could bring on a couple of people. And we could, and Lewis knows how to do this. So you're with the right person.
Yeah.
Okay. And he can walk you through this process. But we want to make sure that if someone comes in and goes, I want to be the best real estate agent in town, I'm going to learn from you, Arnold, and for sure we'll stay with you and then we'll grow this thing together. That's the wrong person. Run from that person because he's going to take your clients.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
We want the person who says, I need a steady income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to do real estate, but I'm like, I need to make a payment. And that they have good customer service skills and they're friendly, but also reliable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we might have to kiss some frogs, that's for sure. But I couldn't encourage this more. This is the time now because we
It
might
is.
get the first person and come out of the box. It might take a couple of years.
Yeah.
But you're building an annuity right now will go on for years if we can get a couple of good people in there to keep this thing going. And then you just spend your time on the golf course running into all your friends
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I mean, I'm single-handedly 12 closings this month.
Amazing.
So
That's a lot.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I mean, the bank account's great, but then, yeah, I'm on board with what you're saying, and you are right, and you are exactly right. I hired 2 rainmakers, and well, I think one of them for sure was a rainmaker, and he took the other one with him.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're 100% correct. I see it clear. So,
Yeah. And then what you do is you can make the person a partner or a semi-partner. You can create an LLC so there's ownership so that they feel some loyalty there. But the top salespeople, the salespeople types, it's not who we want because they don't have to do it. They just need to show homes. And here's the realities is, if you're showing homes, people get tired of looking at homes. They write offers. They see 10 homes, they want to write a deal.
yeah, right.
And you're still talking to them on the phone. You just don't have to go through, showing homes at 118-degree heat.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that I really want you to put that into place. I also really want you to be patient on it. If it doesn't work out, keep going.
Yeah.
Arnold, it will work out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
On getting the right person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can agree with you. And so what I'm thinking is, okay, I gotta expand my horizon here a little bit. And right now I'm sticking right within Pebble Creek, the community. I'm probably gonna have to look outside of the community to find that person.
Well, the other thing is you could farm the entire community if you wanted.
Yeah.
There's 6,500 homes. If you got 20%, you got 25% to give you an interview, and that's it. And let's say we spent $4. So I'm going to drop down the 6,500 to 3,500. Is it all owner occupied?
No, not.
Okay, so how many owner occupied do you think?
Mostly all owner occupied. I'd have to say 95% is owner occupied. There's some people that have them.
So we'll just say, I'm assuming, hey, people stay in their homes on average 10 years. If we start with 4,000 homes and we add 100 homes accorded to that, that means there's 400 opportunities. And let's say we don't know people as well. So I'm going to go really low that you're only going to get 1 out of 4 to call you. Okay. But I'm spending $4 per person per month. Like you are going to blow this place up. And we could do geographical digital marketing where people go in, they just start getting you on the phone, all this kind of stuff. Because you could do we could do some really cool things there. You could have signs, whatever. But so let's say we were spending that and we're only getting 25. assuming that we got half of them were buying up or buying down, you could do that. And then every 4 listings that you got, you had a sign call that you double ended or something along those lines. That would take you out to a total investment of $140,000. That takes you into the red. We go out 3 years, assuming, by the way, that the first 6 months, there's no benefit. You get 0 deals.
Right.
Okay. And then you have an 8% hit after 6 months, a 17% hit after 12 months, and after 18 months, you're now getting 25%. Okay. You following me in the numbers?
Yeah, I am.
So now function like a real business guy here. And we're in the hole $140,000. 3 years out, based upon those numbers, your revenue is $1.4 million. Your expense for marketing to the geographical farm is roughly $250,000. Gift expense is 40, and then your associate income, you're going to have 3 people that you're paying $60,000 to $100,000 a year. That's doing 153 annual transactions. Now, by the way, there's lots of people who would love to get paid $80,000 a year and not have to close business. 71% of the entire industry did not sell a house last year. So your total expense is $500,000, but that is mostly a variable expense. So it's not a fixed cost because you can put these people at 20% of the income. That gives you a net income. That's marketing, that's associates, that doesn't include Zillow Showcase, but that gives you a profit of $800,000 on top of your SOI. You take that out 5 years, it takes you to $1 million with a $300,000 return, and that puts you, and that's with $140,000. Now, if we go back and say, well, let's start with 1,000 and do a cost dollar average on the way up, and we'll add 50 people per month or 150 per quarter. You go in the hole $50,000, but in the 3rd year, you're making another $350,000. That's spending $4 per person.
Yeah.
And only getting 25%. The more signs you have, those calls are going to come in regardless. So to me, that's the better spend.
It is. You're exactly right. Yes.
The problem is you have to, it's not sexy and it takes a long time for it to pay off.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Like you put the system in place and you see it working, and yeah, you're right. You're not going to see anything for the first 6 to 8 months, but you stay the course, and then when you're coming into year 2, 3, and beyond, that's when the goose starts laying the eggs.
What else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That was huge nugget right there for me, James. No, I kid you not. And my wife couldn't agree more, because you can imagine how much I'm on the phone and how many hours I work and what I do. And
you have to spend more to get to you have the cash flow to be able to hire somebody in, and you have to have enough to be able to provide them, a reasonable income. So you could pay them $20 an hour and pay them $100 or $1,000 per closed deal. That might be better, but I think that you are the goose and you are the farmer, and you have to be really careful where you're spending your money.
Yeah.
And you want to spend it where you're going to get the best ROI.
Yeah. So
we can set up and run all of this geographical farming for you, by the way.
Yeah. That's the direction we'll take this in.
And we'll help you interview.
Yep.
And we'll give you the contracts, and we'll give you the systems to manage your people.
Perfect.
Arnold, I'm so glad to have met you, and I'm really glad I'm in business with you. And
happy to have you guys. I've always liked to say that 10 years I was professionally coached. I've been mostly with Brian Buffini. I took Brian Buffini into Canada. taught his program, where he was one of his first certified mentors up there. And so when I seen what Fusion had, I was like, that is what I need. Because then you take all that stuff away from me and you guys have the professionals to do it. It's working really well for me. So now we can take this, now we can scale this, because that was in my mind is I have great success, James, but if you're not careful, it can stop, you know.
Well, that's the growth paradox. The more you grow,
Exactly.
the more complex, and then it can pile in on you.
100%. And I have taken the two top producers in Pebble Creek, and they're not top producers anymore because they thought they'd arrived and they kept, okay, now it's me. So I'm like, okay, Arnold, you got to scale it. You got to be careful, because otherwise you'll be like them in a couple of years. Somebody else.
Don't want to do that.
100%. So no, I really appreciate it. And I'm going to talk to Louis and we'll get legs under that thing.